PEP Radio is a part of the Pennsylvania Equality Project that plays music, news, and weather, actively advocating for the LGBTQ+ and disabled since 2024.
PEP Radio, available on Live 365, Roku, Alexa, and at paquality.com.
Here at Gay SA Radio, we're very happy to welcome the Othering podcast to our airwaves. Catch the show every Thursday at noon CAT, bringing fresh voices and compelling conversations straight to you.
Head over to gsaradio.stream to find out how you can tune in and become part of our family. Don't miss it, only on Gay SA Radio, where you are family.
One man and one woman join forces to rid the world
What are you doing?
of inequality and fascism.
Seriously?
I'm trying to do a promo here.
For whom? What are you doing?
Welcome to the Othering Podcast with Mike and Dory.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey,
How are you?
doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Pretty good.
Good.
Yep.
Thank you for having me.
Sure. Thanks for joining us. All right. Today we are talking to Chelsea Hardesty. She is a volunteer, CEO, and editor of Satire V Projects, and the founder and president of Getting the Better of Endometriosis. All of her leadership roles are nonprofit and volunteer-based, reflecting her deep commitment to advocacy over profit. As a columnist, research assistant, and patient herself, her investigative and personal perspectives have helped spark collaborative efforts across journalism, art, and policy. Her advocacy is rooted in lived experience after decades of being dismissed by the healthcare system, experiences that risked her life more than once. Chelsea's persistence and self-advocacy ultimately led to the diagnosis of complex endometriosis and related conditions. Today, those experiences drive her work educating policymakers, training advocates, and curating projects that amplify voices too often excluded from the endometriosis and chronic illness conversation, including cis and trans individuals, non-binary people, children, and postmenopausal patients, building a global community around inclusion, healing, and justice. Welcome, Chelsea. It's an honor to
Thank you
have
so
you.
much.
It is a huge honor, and you're so, well, excuse me, so well, what's the word, Mike?
Prolific.
Yes, that's it. She's very prolific. I mean, that's
Lots of big things that really
is really
make a
cool
difference.
and awesome, and thank you for all of that. What got you started in the, fighting for endometriosis?
Well, it was just honestly my experience. I was living practically 2 decades being told my pain was basically in my head. So in the long run, my own self-advocacy ended up saving my life. So, and seeing that instance of myself made me think about how many other people were experiencing this as well. And I have always had a call for justice. I used to want to be a criminal justice investigator, just something along the lines. And this just seemed to kind of fit where I needed to kind of go. So,
Go ahead.
So you said 2 decades. Does that mean it started like when you were very young?
yeah, I was about 9 years old.
9, okay.
Looking back, that's when symptoms began, and they were just like, oh no. It's just amazing. I was passing out on the playground, and they had no answers. I was constantly sick, and they had no answers.
Wow.
By high school, I was basically led to believe that I was insane. They were telling me it was all in my head, and it began me to. I began to question the pain I was feeling and what pain was. Because if what I was feeling wasn't pain, then what was? And that led me down the self-harm avenue. So I struggled with self-harm for a while because I needed to understand what pain was. So that was crazy. And then I started being hospitalized in mental institutions because I did attempt 2 times to take my life. And then it just became a constant battle of getting people to understand that it wasn't in my head, but it still to them seemed, insane. So it was a battle.
And I'm sorry that you had to go through that, because it's angering and it's maddening that they just assume that a 9-year-old kid is going to be like, oh, well, I want attention, or, I just want to be this or that, or whatever they're thinking that you're doing as a 9-year-old. You're 9. That doesn't make sense.
It's crazy because they started correlating my home life with what I was feeling. So I'm a child of divorce, and there was abuse in the home, and that was rough. So when my mom started to advocate for me, they even started to question her and her intentions. So even though my mom believed me, that still wasn't enough. It was intense. She even started questioning herself, and she didn't know what else to do. So we hit a wall for sure.
And
wow.
That pisses me off. It just, because I was 9 when I started hit puberty, and other than the very first one, every period from then on was excruciating pain, to the point of where I was I had to put my fists, kind of push them into my stomach. I had to curl up into balls. I did exercises. I did, all of the different things that they always talk about how you're supposed to do to remedy the pain. And it didn't help. It didn't do anything. And to think that a 9-year-old kid is going to be wanting to lie about that is ridiculous.
The intensity of it too. And then of course, by the time high school hit, I was in and out of the emergency room 3 times, a year, at least. And I, of course I'm going to be labeled, attention seeker or something, but I was in pain, and the pain was always kind of near my appendix and stuff. So appendicitis always scared me. So of course I was going to go to the ER because the symptoms I was experiencing really matched up to what I thought was appendicitis, but it wasn't. And then, they'd get psych to come in and evaluate me, and then it just turned around into that, and then they boot me out the door. So I went in and out, counselors as well, because, just finding that right counselor that kind of hits with you is hard enough as well.
That's never easy, finding the right counselor, the right therapist.
No, it's not.
It took us till recently to find the right one for us.
Yeah.
And we're in our 40s.
That's a whole nother battle.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Because, one of the first ones that I had, she was just like, oh, I'll help you. I'm moving to a new office. And then she ghosted me. And it's just when those things happen, it just kind of makes you lose your faith a little bit in the system, because,
a lot of it.
A lot of it, actually. In the systems, because they constantly, especially when you're AFAB, you're pushed towards, well, it's just in your head. It's just in your head. This can't be real.
Yeah.
Or it's the other thing of, well, you're female. Of course it's going to hurt.
Mm-hmm. You're supposed to hurt. You're supposed to go through this. This is part of being a woman.
Yeah.
That's what it started to be. Oh, they did see an ovarian cyst a couple times. Oh, that's just part of being a woman. They just rupture. But no, these things are not supposed to rupture.
No.
If a man, if a cis man presented with, cysts or anything around their testicles or genitalia or anything, let's get them seen. Let's get them in surgery, But we're put on hormone suppressants and told you're crazy while they're adding to the craziness with hormone suppressants.
Yes.
So,
yeah, because, hormones are crazy as it is, especially when you're hitting puberty. And then I don't think they really stop the crazy, even as you get aged.
Yeah. Nope.
Was your pain pretty much constant all the time, or was it mostly around your periods back when you were a child, younger?
It was hard to pinpoint, but as I got closer to high school and stuff, it was pretty much all the time. Constant. And then it got worse around my period, and that's when I just couldn't move, and I was I couldn't show up to school, I couldn't show up to work, I just couldn't. And then, I got a label, and I couldn't help it.
And it's stigmatizing, because people then just be like, well, they're not reliable, and they never think in terms of there's a disease that's causing these things, and so they just want to go to that label of you're crazy because it's easier instead of, actually finding out what's wrong.
Right.
And I mean, I understand not necessarily wanting to jump to surgery immediately, which is the normal thing for endometriosis, is some sort of surgery to figure out that you definitely have it. But I would think that as a medical professional, a nurse, doctor, anybody would go and think in terms of, this isn't right, this child is hurting, and, pain is subjective because there's no real way to definitely say that somebody's in pain or not just because
the smiley faces aren't the answer?
Yeah, the smiley faces.
The smiley faces don't work?
Yeah,
right.
No, go figure. And it's just crazy to me that they would just ignore that. And it's upsetting because I too have been ignored in that I don't have endometriosis, I don't think. They never checked or anything, but that excruciating pain of my period was awful. And they just said, well, go on, birth control. And that'll fix it, or have some kids.
Yeah. I'll tell you from experience, that doesn't help. I was high-risk pregnancies, both pregnancies, and it was scary. I became anemic by the time of my second one because I was bleeding rectally, and it was just scary.
It is scary. Yeah, and I was high-risk all three of mine. So, I mean, it didn't really help.
No answer there.
So have you...
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, it's even crazier, too, because, they take the Hippocratic Oath, and it's like a commitment to do no harm and to do what's best for your patient and stuff. But, like, it's hard to find the good apple in a bunch of bad apples,
Yep.
Right.
It seems to be that way around instead of the other way around. So
exactly.
Have you been able to get the surgery or some sort of relief since being an adult?
Actually, since 2018, which is when I was actually diagnosed, to now, I'm actually 6 weeks post-op from my 8th surgery. So I've had 8 surgeries in the past 7 years.
Wow.
So it's definitely been a journey, but I finally feel way better than I have my entire life. So it's like each surgery kind of like fixed something and built something a little bit better and stronger, and was able to help me piece together a puzzle and understand a little bit more about what was happening. So
I'm glad they're getting somewhere with it.
Yeah.
And helping you now.
Yeah. I had to travel from Ohio to California for my recent surgery because nobody here was taking me seriously and recognizing the pattern that was happening. So I went to fly out to Dr. Cameron Nazat, who is one of the top and longest working endometriosis surgeons in the world. He also helped pioneer laparoscopic surgery as well. So I was definitely honored that insurance was able to help cover this PPO. So woo, thank you to my husband.
Yes, thank you, husband. And it's just the fact that
that's
under no
awful.
circumstances should anybody have to travel out of their state to get the care they need.
And there's people who travel out of their countries.
Yeah. I mean, it's mind-boggling the level of disrespect and hatred that they seem to have for anybody who is female. Whether you're born that way or become that way. It just makes me wonder truly what is the underlying mechanism of so much misogyny and, disrespect and hatred for women.
I don't know, because you trace it back, and Dr. Nazat also did research and traced back how far he thought endometriosis was in, textbooks and stuff, and he did follow it back to possibly the Egyptian textbook time frame. But, in all throughout, that time period, all the way through the 1800s, 1700, all that, it's just been a perception there. And the treatment that they gave women then was just, wow. Like they were hanging women upside down to try to shift their uterus back into place. They had like the bloodletting, there was there was also a type of hormone that was given back then was bull urine.
Yep.
So it's crazy.
It is. And we're the ones that are crazy.
Years, right. For hundreds of years, we've just been labeled as whatever, all the way down, to the witch.
And it angers me too, because again, we shouldn't have to leave our country. We shouldn't have to leave our state. We should be able to get the care we need. And especially if they keep saying that the only thing that we're good for is having babies. Okay. Well, if you want us to have babies, shouldn't you take care of the vessel?
That's what I would think. Yeah.
I mean, if you want all those babies, you kind of have to take care of the vessel to carry them. And, going for younger is disgusting, for one.
Yeah.
And it's not going to give you more of any sort. And so, again, it's just like, you got to take care of what you have. Who is there? And those that actually want to have babies, instead of trying to force it upon everybody, because not everybody should or could have babies. And putting our lives at risk just so you can say that you have control over us I think is stupid and ridiculous.
Yeah. I think that kind of ties into like IVF and endometriosis too, because they tell you, you're infertile, so let's go through all these treatments, but they never investigate into why. And, a lot of times when they do go in, they discover this, endometriosis, adhesions present to not make like a proper, suitable environment for the fetus to even develop and grow. But I don't know why they don't think about that.
Yeah, it doesn't. And because it's disheartening too, because when you think about it, IVF, usually it takes a lot of rounds. That's not only a lot of money.
Yep.
But the hormone roller coaster that you have to be on in order to get through it is rather devastating. And to then be like going through all of that and then, oh, by the way, you're not going to be suitable for this because, or, whatever reason, you should have checked this out first. Find out why we're infertile. And don't just assume it's only on the female aspect. Men can be infertile too.
Yeah.
There are men out there that shoot blanks and things like that. So why is it always on us?
Yeah.
As if
that conversation's not had enough.
No, it's not. It shouldn't be. It's not like we have magic vaginas that suddenly make men fertile. I mean, that would be kind of cool, but...
Like, I understand we have regenerative properties in our vaginal wall, but we're not that magical, man.
Yeah, exactly. We can't, wave the magic vagina and poof, we're all good now. It doesn't work that way. And
I think I need a new title for this episode. The Magic Vagina.
That would be a good title. But it just doesn't make any sense to me. And maybe it's because I'm thinking in terms of, from the female aspect, or I have a brain, I don't know. But it just doesn't make any sense to me to put people through so much pain and anguish and then discover maybe why they're infertile.
Yeah, especially the debt factor. But I guess IVF really wouldn't be there if they really did the investigating properly. So again, it also goes into me thinking of like a huge big pharma push, going back to like the hormone pushes, and why would you give a hormone disease hormones? Or like why it just, a lot of it just doesn't make logical sense to me. And that's another reason why, like, when I started looking into it more, I was just like, all right, somebody's got to be speaking about this stuff, because we got to piece together this puzzle now. I've done my puzzle. Let's do the whole puzzle of endo, because it's wacky.
It is. And there are AMABs that actually suffer from endometriosis as well.
Correct.
So I would think that you would want to then look into, maybe it's the hormones, because since both sexes have estrogen and testosterone, maybe there's some sort of balance that isn't happening that causes it. Or maybe they need to be out of balance or something.
Yeah.
I would think that you'd want to follow that trail because, like, for instance, I was reading about it, how they were like testing snails' goo, that gooey stuff that they, and discovered how to treat, what was it? What was the disease? I want to say something like tuberculosis from it. I'm not sure exactly.
Maybe it was like, I don't remember.
But it was something,
like
totally
a
unrelated.
thing. Yeah, like it just, you wouldn't even think that that would be something. Yeah.
And so by studying the hormones more, who knows what we could discover? And, could possibly not only, maybe not cure totally, but help more in the endometriosis and certain cancers that, are around that area of cervical or vaginal and various other ones.
Yeah, and what's crazy enough is endometriosis itself has self-sustaining properties, which includes its own development of estrogen. So it has its own circulation of estrogen. So no matter what you're doing to outside sources and already your body sources, itself is going to produce a self-stimulating factor as well as nerve and blood circulation as on its own. So it gets this own little like monster living thing in there, and that's to not connect those dots until like the evidence has been there for decades. I've been finding it, I've been collecting it, and now the conversation just is recently in 2024, 2025 shifting to this outside a reproductive box, which is crazy to even think that it's taken that long, even though the data's been there. Like the fact that it's been found in cis men has been documented for 75 years. So,
Yeah.
Whoa. But it's only been documented because people have like put it as a study. Imagine all the other cases that are not actually case studies that are floating around out there and undiagnosed, just like AFAB.
And how
Does
many?
it affect particular organs in AMABs?
No, not
Or just
particularly.
any?
It can be
No,
any.
it's been found like around the bladder and prostate, abdominal wall, in areas where hernias have been repaired, interesting enough. And not every person has been on hormone treatment either.
Right.
So people are quick to say, oh, well, it's because they've been exposed to hormones. Actually, not every case. So
if you, and I'm not trying to like start anything here, but if you study endometriosis in men, would that help what happens in women because of your reproductive system being so complex?
I think it can help a lot, and I think it kind of goes back to like fetal development theories, and having abnormal tissue being planted during the fetal development and being triggered and stimulated later on or at a certain point in life.
Yeah.
Some it's in childhood, some it's even later in life. Some don't even experience symptoms while it's still present. So it's a weird, like I said, it's a weird disease.
It is.
Yeah.
And like they recently discovered the fact that, speaking of fetal development, like the placenta, I believe, depends upon the male's body and how how healthy they are and how great their sperm is.
Yeah, it's not always about how healthy the woman is. Like both partners have to be in good health to really have a good organization going on down there.
Right. And I would think that studying both sexes and AMABs and AFABs that have endometriosis versus don't, and kind of start from there, that would be a great study, because if it has its own source of veins and it has its own source of estrogen and things like that, then I would want to go further into that. Why is it estrogen?
Like where is this really coming from? Like what's inside of this? Like what it's just to just keep it labeled in this woman's reproductive disease category is just, to me, it's discriminatory.
It is.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
And that's how I've been labeling it and discussing it, and it's my type of action in labeling it, because for hundreds of years it's been discrimination. So
yeah, and how many people, both AMABs and AFABs, have been suffering in silence because they either say it's only women, and so AMABs are terrified to speak up and say anything.
Yeah.
And again, females, and, AFABs.
And I wrote an article about a lady in our community who has endometriosis, but her father and her uncle actually had endometriosis, but they're not case studies. So I've written about them. So she always speaks up anytime, I've always see her in the comments. So it's like me, her, and a couple other people are always just like out there. But there's women in the community that really get, angry about it, and it just blows my mind that they want to be angry about it, and then like they're the same women that would be angry if they were discriminated against somehow, but then they turn around and give it back to other people trying to make way for inclusion. It's like, we're not trying to erase you, we're not trying to erase your experience, we're trying to build upon them,
right, and make it better for everybody.
Exactly.
When we include everyone, everybody gets a seat at the table, and then everybody's voices can be heard, making it better perpetually. Whereas when you exclude people, you miss out on so many ideas and life experiences that could have been, to help you, have a better life or better experience. If there was 5 really good doctors and they were listening, they were caring, they had access to everything under the sun that possibly is available right now. But I never told anybody, even though I knew them, because I want to keep them to myself. How does that help anybody?
Right. It's there's a world of gatekeeping as well that goes into the community, which is even more wilder.
But then when you share that you found a great doctor, everybody goes there, and then nobody can get in or see him, and he's rushed, and then everyone gets no personal attention.
That can all be fixed in the long run if we backtrack and go into med school and actually do proper education and training and establish more doctors with the, available, so we have the access and it's not slow. It's just, that's where it needs to really go into, not only the research, but then med schools need to acknowledge what's already there and go ahead and start building on that, so they can start seeing people more, and then the new generations coming out, have a better criteria of this condition. And that's kind of a basis on a lot of my talking points. And I have a class action investigation petition that is calling for basically a complete overview investigation into endometriosis care in America, because there's like levels that, and I have evidence and I have testimonies, and I'm still collecting testimonies, and I'm just waiting for the right lawyer to hear me out.
That's really cool that you're doing all that for people and advocating like that. That's great.
I don't see a way for things to change.
Well, I mean, they always say be the change you want to see in the world.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't necessarily want to take up the mantle, but somebody has to. Yeah. And why not be you or me or whoever? I've always been the one growing up that my friends would come to for period advice and things like that.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I don't know why, but I just was. And I talk to people. I enjoy doing that. So, I don't like to shut up most of the time. And
except when you're with me.
Oh, shut up. I talk with you. And it's just, if I don't shut up, then, maybe that'll help somebody. And so I think that it's great and wonderful and important of what you do, because even though I don't suffer from endometriosis, I know people who have, and who's to say that that doesn't end up helping me in the long run, because, better care, better understanding. Maybe they can catch PCOS sooner because of studying endometriosis, or it catches the cancers, cervical, breast, and all of those earlier.
There's connections there already that show endometriosis and similar biomarkers to cancer, and that's, again, crazy.
Yeah. And the fact that it's just taken us so long to figure that out is just, why couldn't we do this sooner? Why did it take until 1993 to finally say, oh wow, there's another sex on this earth, let's study them? I mean,
and study them properly. Let's acknowledge them in our actual tampon pot, which actually the tampons didn't even use real menstrual blood till just very recently.
That's the other thing. I mean, and then they're shocked that it's not as absorbent as they thought.
Yeah.
Well, gee, I can't imagine why.
I've been gaslighted the whole time just because their studies were faulty, you know? Like,
I thought there was something wrong with me because I would have to wear a tampon and a pad because I would just bleed past so much. So I'm like,
I ended up having adenomyosis, which actually does explain that, but like still, I feel like how much? Like it was an hour with like an extra large tampon, and I'm just like, what is happening?
Yeah. I would have that issue too. Or I would bleed through overnight pads.
Yeah.
And it's like, wait a minute, it's supposed to be overnight. I don't want to have to get up 3 times at night to make sure I'm not leaking everywhere.
Right.
And of course leaks happen, so I'm not saying you, but still, when you go and get those products that are supposedly made for you and they claim that they're highly absorbent, and then you find out, for me, 30 plus years later, oh, by the way, they've only been using red water.
Right.
Do they work better now?
No.
Okay. I didn't think so.
Not yet.
I didn't
not
think
yet.
so.
It is just, it's frustrating because half of the world are AFABs, if not a little bit more.
I think it is a little more.
It's like 51%, around 50 to 52, let's say, is AFAB. And even though we have trans people who, transition their genders and all that stuff, we still end up about 50 to 52% of the population. And to ignore the fact that we exist is really fucking stupid.
Yeah.
You know,
especially like you said, tying back to if you really want us to be the foundation of, birthing, like why completely dismantle us?
right.
It's like, I understand maybe because it was like, the power over the women, make them weak, but also make sure they can do what they can. So like, I feel like that was also a whole agenda, don't let them know that they have more power than they do.
Right.
And so now
But we have always had more power because we're the ones that have to carry the babies.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know why they just wanted to hinder all of that. And it just doesn't make sense to me ever.
All
The
I can
hierarchy
figure is
never
that
made
it's some sort of jealousy.
It's got to be maybe because they can't host a baby in their bodies. Well,
Yeah, not my fault.
that's sorry.
Yeah.
The one and only thought we'd do it better.
Well, that's not just there, but but it is ridiculous. It's stupid. It's frustrating, and so many things. I imagine that if they had equally studied cis and transgender females and males throughout time, how many more diseases would have been maybe eradicated?
It's like there people try to say that that's a whole new thing too, but no, they've been there. We've all been here.
Yes. We've been here since the dawning of time.
Yeah.
I mean, they're even in the Bible as eunuchs. They're mentioned as eunuchs. He specifically says those that were born that way, those that became eunuchs later in life, through either because they wanted to or because society made them that way. Them and the meek inherit heaven. And whether or not you believe in that, that's up to you. But the fact that even Jesus mentions it, I mean, it's like, come on, people. If you think that the world only started 2,000 years ago, which it didn't, and even he says at that time we were there, then deal with it. If you don't like it, guess what? Find a mountain, shove it up your ass, and leave the rest of us alone.
Because we're just trying to get by just like the rest of you guys. So
Right.
I don't know why it matters. Like, what's the big idea? What's the jealousy factor for that? Like, I don't know. Like, because everything almost seems. Yeah, I guess so. You're right. Because they're happy with who they are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I agree.
And honestly, even though I'm not transgender myself, when I realized that I was neurodivergent, And I started unmasking. The happiness that I have felt at each unmasking is beyond anything that any drug or anything could match. And so that joyfulness, if that's even a tenth of what they feel, then like, why would you want to stop people from that?
Yeah.
And if you can't feel it because of whatever it is that's holding you back, if you think it's religion or just society, then maybe that's not the religion or that you should be following, that tells you to suppress who you truly are. And if society tells you got to suppress it, fuck society and be happy, because joy spreads just as much as misery. Find
Love
your happiness.
So many different labels. Love is not one label of perception. It's so many different ways. Yeah,
and
even he says it himself. There's different types of love, like it's in the word.
It is. And they always say you got to love thyself first before you can love others. Well, that's a form of loving yourself, is being true to who you are.
Yeah.
And that joy is awesome.
Yep.
And so, imagine having the ability to then give it to people who have endometriosis and other diseases and that are possibly hormonal based, and give them some joy of life too. And because that's basically what it all comes down to. Chronic illness, LGBTQ, everything is just, we want to be happy.
Yeah.
And sometimes
just as the people we are, just like everybody else.
Right.
We just, there's little extra barriers in our way. And we're just asking for a little help.
Yes. And it's important that we ask for help too. And, find your community. And but like, I hate the fact that we have to be in pain to find our community, to find the true friends. And I hate the fact that it took so long to realize that half the population is female and not just white cis men. And that, these aren't new concepts. And
it's just what that's all we see in books and, everything. So,
yeah. And people still came out gay, even though all movies, books, and children's stories are about, mommy and daddy walking hand in hand and love each other. So, come on, people. Just because you read a gay book, you're not suddenly going to be gay.
Yeah, that's a whole nother... Man, so many good topics.
Yes, there are. Sorry to get off topic of, endometriosis, but it's just, it all kind of ties in together.
It does. You just want to be seen and heard and understood.
Yeah.
So speaking of that, I wanted to talk more about all of your different adventures. You're getting the Better of Endometriosis, the Satire V, and the Worldwide Endo March.
There's a lot going on there, and so I think one of the biggest things that we've been working on is kind of a whole collection of lived experiences of endometriosis, but in an art and literature perception. So a lot of collections are just like, stories and just, people's words. Well, we are accepting, short stories, but also of the poems and actual art that our community has made, because, art speaks a lot. Definitely. So we have collected so many amazing voices, and we published one book already, and it's on Amazon. It's called The 1 in 10 Poetry Book, and it's sharing the lived experiences. And there's a few select works of art next to a collection of poetry that kind of fits with that work of art. And we also have a mindful poetry journaling section, as well as a little bit of data behind the raw lived experiences to kind of support the imagery as well. And we are almost done with the full collection. We're in the final drafting process, editing process, really. We have almost 330 voices, I think, represented between short stories, poems, artwork, and a whole nother set of data collections. So wow. I'm really excited about this one.
That's really amazing.
Yeah, it's going to be beautiful. Once it's in my hand, I'll probably cry again like we did with the first book. But.
How long has this been in the process, collecting the works? And
We started collecting late 2022, early 2023. We got the poetry book out last year, kind of as like a prequel as we kept building the bigger collection. So we're going to have the full collection released. And then we're also working on other things. We also have a project right now open, and it's called Being a Woman. And it's anybody's perception on what you think being a woman is, whether it be through art, poetry. We really are trying to also push for embroidery or thread work. We're trying to make kind of like a quilt, so people would send in little thread work collections, and then we would be able to have stuff at events and our other traveling art galleries that we also have to further build upon the experiences.
That's really cool. I love that.
Yeah.
I mean, the quilts and the poems, and it's just, and it's really like an awesome way to advocate for not only yourself but for other people, because all forms of art has been able to push the conversation to injustices.
Yes.
Without necessarily being in your face.
Right.
Because sometimes you don't want it in your face kind of thing. You know, have to yell people, get out my grill, or whatever you want to say. It just sounds really weird coming out of my mouth, because that's not how I talk, but still. Saying those things, it's just... And some of the things that I have read have been so incredibly beautiful. Like, I can't always read them because, like, it'll make me cry. And I hate ugly crying, but
yeah, me too.
It's just really beautiful, and it helps understand what people go through.
Yeah, absolutely. And like with the picture factor, you know, they say the picture is worth 1,000 words, and it can explain many different perceptions in one, and more than words can. And when you look at some of this poetry, it's just, you know, gutting, because, you know, it speaks to me for sure, but like from the reviews on Amazon of other people who don't suffer and like have been reading it and stuff, it's interesting. And I've had people at my mom's work read it, and they're just like, wow, it's a whole different perception. And again, all through history, art has been a way to change perception and even, you know, be a advocacy tool. So once I came across Verity's Instagram, like my what does IG have when it shows you something it thinks that you might like? The algorithm. So once that my algorithm must have thought that I needed to connect with her, because it just showed up one time, and so I reached out to her, and we just really hit it off and connected and really built an amazing project. So
yes, it is. It is very amazing.
So is getting the better of endometriosis, is that a part of the Satire V?
Yeah, so getting the better of endometriosis actually started as like when I got my diagnosis in 2018. I felt like I needed to talk about it. Like you said, you know, let me just talk about it. I could help. And that led me to other people who were like, hey, thanks for sharing your story. So when I tried to go out into the community and do more things, I was just, you know, an influencer, or just like I was a nobody. So I realized I needed to have a mission and a reason, and that kind of fell behind the nonprofit perspective.
Right.
So my mom and my family, we kind of like figured out how we could register as a nonprofit, and they're kind of like supporting me as my team and my members. And I work as my nonprofit to collaborate with other organizations and stuff to accomplish missions. So, and then I just use my own platform, you know, do my own thing as well. But my biggest thing is to cross collaborate, because I think the more, you know, speaking and the more voices you have, it's a coalition, you know?
Right.
Yeah. It's hard to drown out a billion voices.
Yeah.
And which is, you know, really profound when you think about that, because the more of us that share and talk about it, the less taboo it becomes, and the less it's just a woman's issue. Because, I mean, I've seen videos of men upset and crying, talking about their daughters, their wives, their sisters, suffering from these horrible, debilitating pain. And that is truly what it is horrible and debilitating. I mean, I've seen family members that I love, you know, get horribly sick, vomiting, and no painkiller helps. And, you know, that feeling of helplessness, that you can't help them or do anything is awful.
Yeah.
And the fact that it took so long still just boggles my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how do you watch a loved family member suffer so much pain and never say, we need to do something about this?
Mm-hmm. And there's people in my community that say even their parents don't believe them. So like, I'm lucky that my mother, recognized me and saw me for what I was experiencing and didn't think I was just being, exaggerative or, a drama queen, because there's parents out there who don't even listen to their own children.
I don't understand that either.
Yeah.
I mean,
that is just hindering access to care until, they're of age to be able to access it and speak for themselves, because their parent won't allow them to.
but that does so much damage, not only to their psyche, because then they feel like, if my parents don't care and don't believe me, then how is anybody else?
Yeah.
And that also hinders care, because you're going to hold back things because you're going to be terrified they're not going to even believe you if your own family can't.
And like you experienced before when you were a child, it's going to make you question yourself and what you feel.
Yeah, it does.
It becomes internalized.
Yeah. Makes you think you don't really have it because they said it doesn't exist or you can't possibly have that.
Right. And which is just maddening in and of itself, because I don't care what it is. If somebody says they're in pain, just because you cannot see it does not mean that it's not there. It doesn't automatically mean it's just in their head.
Yeah.
Maybe you just don't have the right tools or the brain capacity to understand how to figure out what's going on.
Yeah, because I was tossed between so many different doctors and specialists, So among everybody, it was just nothing, and nobody ever thought to investigate, internally beyond the scans. And that would have shown some things, and nobody just thought to do that. And just the amount of people and doctors that I saw, it just blows my mind that nobody truly saw.
Yeah.
And then you go to the emergency room and they're just there to make sure you don't die. So they
so they're like,
they do
why are
a
you
couple
here?
tests, give you some medicine, and send you home. They don't even care.
Like, I got to the point where like they were like, well, the emergency room is for when you come and you feel like emergency situations and you feel like your life is, at risk. I was like, okay, well, if I can't take care of myself and I can't take care of my family and I can't function at home, that's kind of an emergent situation for me.
Yes.
I would think so. I mean, if you honestly are in so much pain that you can't handle taking care of yourself, opening your eyes and just looking around the room is painful. That's an emergency.
My son, he's not about to be 9, and he grew up a good portion of his childhood with me, like on the bathroom floor, like every morning, because that's where I felt more secure for a little while. So there's pictures that I go back on, Google Photos, and it's just us hanging out on the bathroom floor.
Yeah, and that's not a life.
No.
You should have, and like, I don't mean it in the way of, well, that's pathetic or anything like that. I mean it as, how horrid do we have to be in order to ignore that simple cry for help? I mean, it's so upsetting, the fact that you were on the floor begging for help, and it took until recently to finally get you the help that you needed. And it angers me thinking how many other people are out there suffering from endometriosis or various other pain diseases that are just as debilitating and can't get any help because family members are just like, oh, stop being dramatic.
And I'll say, when I went to my gynecologist after my own, self-discovery of like, okay, bowel endometriosis, this sounds like what is happening to me. He was like, yeah, let's do an exploratory surgery. He was in there for 30 minutes and then came out and said I was clean as a whistle, work on my diet, work on my mental health, blah, 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 blah. That gut feeling hit me like, this guy does not know what he's talking about. I kept, connecting with the community, and I found a excision specialist about an hour away, and she got me in, and about a month time frame from that surgeon, she got me in for an emergency surgery through insurance and found endometriosis on my colon, rectum, and bladder. So just in a month time frame, one surgeon was saying I was clean as a whistle, and another one was finding endometriosis infiltrating my colon, rectum, and bladder.
Where the hell was he looking?
That's what I'm saying. Like, in 30 minutes, like, my mom dropped me off, and she had to go I think she went and dropped off my son to daycare or something, and then came back. And then by the time she came back, he was already done. It's like, what are you looking for? So,
I mean, did he even like go in? I mean,
I had the scars. So I think I asked him. I said, "Did you check did you check my bowels and, like, my cul-de-sac?" And, yeah, we checked around your reproductive organs, and I'm like, he just kept saying that. So I just feel like he was just doing the med school graph area of endometriosis, which is the uterus and the tubes and the ovaries, and
wasted everyone's time and money.
Yeah, because I wasn't affected there at that time, and though I kept having recurring cysts and stuff, it obviously wasn't caught then, or he just didn't care. But so
you're not supposed to have cysts.
Yeah, I know.
They're not supposed to rupture. You're not supposed to let them rupture.
Mm-hmm.
You're not supposed to be in pain. Being in pain is bullshit. I don't care if you are male, female, non-binary, pain is not supposed to be there. And anybody who sits there and says, well, it's because you're female, or, well, it's because you have hormones. Well, yeah, of course, everybody's got hormones. And the fact that, I mean, what the fuck was he looking at?
I don't know.
Like,
I don't know. But, like, that gut feeling really, I mean, something was telling me, like, girl, just don't go somewhere else. And I did. And after I woke up, I remember, because I remember her holding my hand before surgery, and she's like, what are you going to do if I don't find anything? I said, I don't know. I said, this is my last, like at that point, I was so sick and I couldn't hold a job. I was pale. I was losing weight. I had no idea what else to do. And I woke up from surgery, and, like, I have panic disorder upon waking up from surgeries until, probably the sixth surgery in, they figured out a cocktail that works great. But then I woke up in a panic, and I was just like, did they find anything? Did they find anything? And, like, the nurse quickly ran and got Dr. Minnie. She came in and held my hand, and she said, I found it. I found endometriosis on your colon, rectum, and bladder. And I bawled. And, like, that release, again, we go with, that release of almost that unmasking feeling. It was just, that was another mask to rip off, like, this was not internalized. This was not mental. This was real. Mm-hmm. You're telling me this was real. My entire time I've been seeking help, this was here, and nobody has seen it. And that was when it clicked. How many other people? And it's so many.
Yeah, it's too many.
And I'm so glad that you didn't just sit back and, like a lot of people, stay quiet, and you're trying to help them and you're trying to make the difference. We need more people like that, because a lot of people will go through that and just, they'll figure it out and not do anything. So it's great what you're doing to help them.
And some people are terrified to come forward and say that they're in pain or anything because of, the stigma of saying that you hurt. People are like, oh, well, you're no fun. Kitty. And,
especially if you have to cancel plans and readjust your entire framework of a week just because you get hit with a flare or something, like,
right. And people don't understand that. Some people don't want to understand that. And it's terrifying to have to come out and say, this is what's wrong. And so the fact that you're doing that for the people who can't, or unfortunately passed away because they were in so much fucking pain, thank you. Truly, thank you.
And there are endometriosis deaths. And so that's also a part of my research too, is, like, people say endometriosis doesn't kill, but it definitely does.
It does.
It's serious. So it's also why we've started going to DC too, because other than the investigation petition, we've been going to DC and saying, hey, I do have this petition going, so, like, if you guys don't do anything on this level, we're going to do something on the Supreme Court level. So let's get things moving. And I am happy to say that with the American End-of-Endo Project and my organization Getting Better of Endometriosis, with a little bit of evidence backing that has been pulled with the development and my connection with EndoMarch, we have had some things moving along. So American End-of-Endo Project, it's just 4 of us that walked into DC. You know, it's like 4 zombies walking to Capitol Hill, and let's
great.
see what we can stir up. And we stirred up
Yes.
some good stuff. So we're waiting on some things, and we'll have an announcement hopefully soon. But we are working also on workshops to aid the community in giving them, you know, tools and confidence to go and do exactly what we did. Because it's if you have the tools, it's really easy.
Yeah, when you understand what's going on and have the tools and the access to those tools, and it makes a huge difference. Whereas when you don't know where to even start, it's overwhelming and daunting.
Yep. And we got good feedback from the congressional staffers and stuff too on the workbook itself. So we're going to arm everybody who attends our workshops with our workbook. So they have this, and it's like a compilation of amazing endometriosis facts that we have worked together on, just beautifully compiling into this magnificent book. So it's just, and then we had each state representative, we gave them their individual folder because it broke down the state impact per state. And they really liked that, you know,
That's really awesome.
how it affects their constituents in their state. And we've met with 25 staff members from, so basically 25 states when we went in March of this year. That was really big. And we got a lot of movement out of that. So,
wow. That's
Thank
really
you.
cool.
Okay, now I feel like
Thank you.
fangirling and like we're not worthy.
No, I every time I get a message that somebody tells me, thank you, you helped me find the doctor, thank you, you helped me look in the right direction. It's just another confirmation that I'm on the right path.
Yep.
You definitely are.
Yep.
And like,
we know how you feel on that too.
I bet.
When we get comments about the podcast saying
because you guys are
I start
offering
bawling.
so much, and just being able to have a platform to share a voice and your experience can do so much. So we've me and my husband, he actually got me podcast stuff for my birthday in December last year, and we've been drafting and working and figuring out how we're going to start our podcast. So I think the first one's going to release in 2026. So like I said, I do keep myself busy. You're right. But I feel like if I didn't, I would really go stir crazy, and I would feel, you know, I do feel useless if I'm not doing this. So it's really a calling.
It is.
Like.
It's definitely a
doing
huge calling. And like I've said this before, but like I thought I was supposed to be a medical doctor because I saw so many people hurting and just nobody listening, and it was a call. It was calling to me, and then I realized this is a calling too, giving people the benefit of saying, you know, we're people, we're human, and you know, we go through these things, and showing the connectedness that LGBTQIA plus and disabled people go through, and that we're not throwaway, is, I think, humbling.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And that's when I found my strength in advocating for other chronic illnesses as well, because I also started piecing together, you know, more of my puzzle beyond endometriosis. So that led me to Ehlers-Danlos syndrome and all like POTS, and like, okay, now all these other pieces are like making so much more sense. And everybody needs to be able to make those connections. And if we don't talk about it, how are people going to make those connections?
Right. Yeah, I mean, I was just reading last night. It fascinated me to no end, but I was like till like 2 in the morning reading this. And they've started finding markers that might make CRPS actually a part of EDS, Ehlers-Danlos. And I'm just like, what? Oh my gosh, this is like, and putting a lot of those puzzle pieces together is again freeing, because then you realize that's why I did what I did growing up, and that you're not some crazy woman or man or something like that, you know, just kind of out on a limb, and it's all in your head.
We do need to start wrapping it up though.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
We could go on and on though.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you for everything you've done. Thank you for joining us.
Yes.
Do you want to let people know where they can find all of your awesome stuff?
Yeah, so I have an actual Linktree thing. So it's just Linktree / little slash thing, betterofendo, and it has like everything that I'm doing and just a full perspective. I update events once we, get them going. And I have a lot of articles that I also write with the Invisible Voice. So their website, theinvisiblevoice.net. I have a lot of articles there, and there's a lot of other really cool articles that I think people would enjoy.
Awesome.
So, thank you again so much.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
And
Yeah.
please talk to us again when you get some more news, and
Absolutely.
we'd love to share.
No, every time we get some good news, I will keep you guys in the ringer.
Awesome. Thank you. All
All
right.
right.
Thank you guys so much for having me. I'll talk to you guys later.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for listening. Please leave a rating for us wherever you listen. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok.
Othering Podcast is brought to you by Loudcore Productions in conjunction with your support. Your host, Mike and Dory Morris, graphics by Joshua Morris, and join us next week on the Othering Podcast.